How's it going, guys? Xaikoo here. Today I have something really interesting right now with me in this box. This is a flight computer, a pretty advanced flight computer you can find on Amazon and a ton of places. And this basically helps you calculate various aspects when you're flying an airplane and when you're pre-flying an airplane. Basically, when you're about to fly the airplane, you need to calculate a lot of things. This right here is something which makes the life of a pilot super easy, super convenient. And I am a student pilot right now. Besides computer science degree, I'm taking flight classes. I'm trying to get my private pilot license. So I was really interested to see how this thing works and what is it so interesting about such flight computers. I'm sorry if my voice is a bit weird this time. I have a wisdom tooth coming out and it's very wise of it to come out at this age, but it is what it is, you know. All hail the glorious wisdom tooth. Let's go ahead and get in this box. This is ASA's official CX3 flight computer. This thing is usually used, actually always used by pilots. I'm not sure if the commercial pilots also use this kind of device or they have much advanced version, but the students who are taking their flight classes and those who have gotten their private pilot license usually use some kind of computer like this. Maybe not this advanced, but some other type of computer where they have to calculate a lot of different various aspects to fly their airplane. So let's go ahead, jump into this and see what's inside this box. Now, a quick starter guide. Usually I throw these things, but this time I might keep this around because I'm super new to all this thing, into flying and everything. So who knows, maybe this will come handy one day. We'll see. Wow, this actually has a cover and everything with it. Didn't expect that. Oh, and it also comes with a battery. I love when calculators and flight computers and such things which requires battery comes with a battery or a couple of batteries. Depends how it goes. Ooh. Wow, this is all shiny and everything. I have a weird thing about shiny looking gadgets. I know they get fingerprinted super easily. You can just touch like their surface and there's like a whole fingerprint and people can actually see and copy your fingerprint and weird things, I imagine. But it's always nice to, you know, the first time when you're looking at it and it's like super shiny and everything. It's pretty neat. The CX3 flight computer by ASA. Okay, let's see how the batteries go in this. I'm scared I'm gonna break this. Ooh. Not gonna lie, I was a bit nervous at that point. This is where the batteries go in. Let's go ahead, try this. Wow, these things are really tough to take out of their packets. God, it's almost like taking fruit out of its normal shell you find in the jungle. Whew, 2 more to go. Wow, it's exactly at the edge. I really hope this fits in right. How on earth does this turn on? I have no idea why, but I'm really excited about this device right here. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do right now. I'm gonna take a few days, understand this thing, maybe fly a flight or two and try to calculate everything we usually do on pen and paper. Using this, once obviously we are done with the pen and paper, because it's always a good idea to know exactly what we're doing than to just put the numbers inside a calculator or the computer or something like that and let it do the work for you. So I'm going to take some time, understand this thing in a few little more depth before I give a quick guide and a review of this thing, and we'll see how things go from there. Well, I said a couple of days, but that ended up being a couple of months. So before I go ahead, give you guys the overall idea and the review of this thing, I just wanted to put 2 disclaimers right here. The first one is that this is a review. It is not a guide, so I won't be guiding you on how this thing works. There are way too much things that one can do in this computer than what I can give you in this few minutes review. Tell you guys is how it does what it is supposed to do. That is basically the essence of this entire review section. The second part is a disclaimer that this product is something which you should only and only use after you have known and done all this calculation by yourself, because 2 weeks in, when I was using this computer as my main source of calculations and computing, I was lost on how the calculations were actually being done. So it is always a good idea to keep on doing the calculation on yourself every now and then, just to make sure that you have the basic idea of how the computing and the calculation and the conversion and everything else is done. With that being said, let's go ahead, jump into the review, and I'll tell you guys how amazing this product is. Right off the back, I want to just tell you guys something that this thing does amazingly well, is that this thing is very easy to understand and to use. There are a lot of calculators out there, a lot of computers out there, such as this one, which is so complicated to use, which does the work perfectly, and it is super reliable. But those things are so complicated that just using it makes no sense after some amount of time. But this thing right here, it was so user-friendly that if you just know what you are programming to do, what you're planning to do, you will have no issue in knowing how it is supposed to be done in this computer, and you can be done with it and have no issues after all. This thing is very, very user-friendly, and I just love when super computers and programs and calculators which are out there, and like graphical calculators and everything, and which does these things so easily, so user-friendly, and that's just one of the things I appreciate all the time. The second thing is the processes it gives to be able to calculate various things. As you can see right here, there are various functions which you can use in order to know what you're going to do eventually when you are trying to take out the measurement and everything. So all you have to do in order to go to the conversion setting is to just select the FLT. The PLAN is for the plane settings, where you program and like plan your trip basically. Your timer is basically a timer which is always there for you if you need to calculate anything, may it be petrol or the gas in the inside of your plane, or may it just be how long does it take you to go from one point to the other, or anything like that. It's always handy to have a timer nearby. And always there is this simple calculator which you can use to calculate. Ton of things you can calculate right here, but there's that for you. There's also a setting where you can change the theme and the backlight, so that's pretty awesome. If you're not like, when it comes with this black and white kind of a scenario, which I changed, and I always liked it to be at a night setting. So I don't know, it is easier for me to look at things when there is no bright light coming at my eyes. So that's just me. There's also weight and balance changes which you can do right here using the weight and balance WB setting right here. Basically the point is, this thing has so many options for you to just go out there, calculate whatever you want to calculate, and makes your life way, way easier on times. But once again, the only thing I would say is that this thing is not meant to be just taken everywhere, and it is not supposed to be your mainstream. It is not supposed to be something which you always rely upon. Okay, so when I first took it to my flight school and I used this thing, they were super happy to let me introduce me into this and to let me know how these things work. But my instructor told me something really peculiar at the time about these devices. He says that these devices might not be your best option to go to when you're calculating various different functions before you're taking a flight, and that didn't make any sense to me. He said that they use batteries, and batteries are not that reliable. They can die down every now and then, and these things use a lot of those batteries, so you might want to have something else in your hand besides this as well. You should know how it is done on just normal pen and paper, old school style, when you do not have such kind of equipment with you. And that didn't make any sense. I was like, I always carry extra batteries with me, right? What if it goes down? Maybe I can just take some batteries out, plug this inside this, and just use it as I normally would do. And guess what happened just a few days after that? I didn't carry my laptop bag with me, so I didn't had my charger and my batteries and everything, and this thing died out. And I didn't know how exactly were we calculating all of those things, because I hadn't worked inside that. I have worked on working with this computer rather than actually working on how these things are usually done. So once again, that is my disclaimer right here. This thing is super awesome. This thing gets your work done. This thing is super helpful when you need it to be. But you should not rely on this thing 100%. You should know how those calculations are done on a normal basis. And when you know that, and when you're doing that every now and then, that is when you can have this computer with you, where usually when you're doing a lot of flights, you can just calculate every now and then on how to take the flight if you don't want to calculate it. But don't rely yourself on this thing. So that is it about this review, guys. I'm gonna give this device a 4.5 out of 5. I will not give it a 5 out of 5. Just because of that one disclaimer right there. It does make you really lazy, because it is super easy to do it like this than to do it by yourself. But said that, I'm gonna give this a 4.5 out of 5. This is an amazing product, and it is very reliable. So see you guys next week. Bye, take care.